Well, hello, my friends. Welcome to me, your host, Christian Watson. So, my friends, I'm sure many of you have heard that the legendary Irish singer Van Morrison recently released a new album called The Latest Record Project Volume 1. And this album has unfortunately received a wave of derision from a certain sector of the music and political intelligentsia who have looked at the specimens of Van Morrison's work and have rendered a judgment that any sensible person in their opinion should arrive to, and that judgment is that Van Morrison has gone bonkers. And not only has he gone bonkers, but apparently Van Morrison is also some flavor of anti-Semite as well. See, they have divined from Van Morrison's tracks, which we'll talk about in a moment, a sort of a kind of irreverence, a kind of rebellion that is a little bit more than simply being rebellious for the sake of something correct. It's being rebellious, and being rebellious against their narratives is inherently, regardless of the purpose of that rebellion, evil. What do I mean? So, let me run down this. Let me just provide the context first. So, a few months ago, during the COVID-19 pandemic, Van Morrison, this man right here on the side of my screen, Van Morrison released a set of songs, a slew of anti-lockdown songs. And in those anti-lockdown songs, he protested a few things. Number one, he protested the death of live music that was taking place due to the lockdowns that were occurring around the world, but especially in his native United Kingdom. And he also protested the wisdom that was used to lock people down and to shut people up. He protested the mask mandates. He did a lot of things that many people did not consider in many reviews of his lockdown songs to be whiny, to be angry, and to be COVID denying. In fact, in a few of the reviews we'll look at in a moment, they have said that Van Morrison is a COVID denier because he rejects the methods that have been used to clamp down on COVID, allegedly. So that is the sort of precursor to what this is. And also, let me just say, Morrison has always had a very tough relationship with the music industry and the music intelligentsia. He has fought over his records before. He released a bunch of songs back in the 60s that were just like 1 minute throwaway songs so he could get out of a record deal. So this is not new for Morrison to be characterized about like this, but it is new to characterize someone like this simply because of the values they hold when those values do not explicitly lead or signify the value judgments that are being made about the values. So let me get into some of this here. So a writer named Jonathan Bernstein, who I responded to on Twitter. He has not responded to me. He writes for Rolling Stone, Van Morrison's latest record project is a delightfully terrible study in casual grievance. He sounds like a furious customer demanding a refund. And he mentions a lot of things here. He particularly mentions one of Morrison's songs on this album, which is called "Why Are You on Facebook?" He says Morrison's record bears a strange resemblance to the unhinged, rambling fill of the pandemic-era internet. More often than not, its 28 tracks come across as a collection of, I suppose I can't curse on this channel, subtweets and Reddit rants set to knock off John Lee Hooker's grooves. He spent the pandemic issuing statements that blamed governmental officials and mainstream media for his inability to perform concerts and releasing surreal songs on the same topic. So you see what they're doing here. They're trying to cast Morrison as a crank and thereby invalidate his claims. Well, this is a classic ad hominem fallacy. They are trying to taint his character so that they can easily excuse his claims. If someone is evidently or apparently insane, and you look at them and say, hey, that person is insane, you can easily discount everything that person says, regardless of the truth of the propositions they are making. That is the kind of dark wizardry that is occurring right now in these reviews, in the intelligentsia, in these responses to Van Morrison, and it is disgraceful. It is intellectual misdirection, malfeasance even. And all that means is that they are using their intellectual powers. They are using their ability to get into the public eye. They are using everything not to address Van Morrison's claims, but to attack his character, which shows that these people, the intelligentsia, the critics, have no argument to make about Mr. Morrison and his dealings in the music industry. Another review here says, Van Morrison's whiny latest record sold 198 copies. And so they're basically trying to, again, whiny, all that kind of stuff. They never address his claims. They never address his claims. They're trying to make him seem as if he's irrelevant. They never address his claims. Then the thing from Forward.com says that Van Morrison has an anti-Semitic trope in one of his songs. So his album has a song called They Own the Media. In this article here it says, it never indicates who the pronoun in its title refers to. Okay, so instead of doing the epistemically humble thing and saying, you know what, we don't know who Morrison was referring to, therefore we will withhold judgment, they decided to go and draw conclusions and assumptions about this and read anti-Semitism into Morrison's song here when he never mentions Jewish people, he never mentions anything like that. Perhaps they could simply be the people who are trying to manufacture chaos for political purposes. That exists. That happens. Political parties, people of all ethnicities, of all cultural groups, are involved in that process. Perhaps Morrison meant that. But for the intelligentsia, again, it doesn't matter what you meant. It doesn't matter what you're actually saying. It matters how they cast you. So first, we already seen them call him whiny. Now they're saying he's anti-Semitic. Now they're saying he's a curmudgeon. But none of these claims, all these claims have one core animating feature in common, and that is not a single one of them are actually addressing the content of his songs. In one of his songs, Why Are You on Facebook, Morrison asks us in the digital era to consider Socratically its effects on us. Morrison asks us in the age of phones, in the age of all kind of technology and destructions, this culture of mass distraction, he asks us, why do you get involved in this? Why are you so obsessed with this? Why do you need the validation? And yet they say that's a funny, dismissive thing. It's funny he says that. And one of the reasons why they dismiss that song in particular is because these people, Forward.com, Rolling Stone especially, they have everything to gain by the continued cultural psychosis that captures and ensnares the minds of the casual observer in society, because they thrive off of it. Their platforms. Rolling Stone has had more of an impact in 2021, when its platform could be accessed from anywhere in the world, than in 1960, we had to go buy a copy and it had to be mailed to you. And so if people were to reconsider their placement in the digital world, that could potentially threaten the intelligentsia's grasp over public perception. Do you see why they hate Van Morrison? My friends, any prophet throughout history, whether it was Socrates, whether it was Jesus Christ, whether it was, regardless of who it was, Mahatma Gandhi, regardless of who it was, Paul Revere even, any prophet throughout history has had to face ostracization, not because what they were saying was different, but because the different thing they were saying was right. Van Morrison is saying what no one else really wants to say, or knowing what the really big platform can say effectively. Not because he's being rebellious, but he's being rebellious because he is being morally virtuous and correct. It takes virtue, as I mentioned in an article I wrote about Morrison's lockdown songs. It takes virtue to say that our God-given rights are tantamount and paramount, and they precede any political action that takes place. It takes virtue to understand the relation of human interactions in relation to in-person collaborations rather than the distant stuff or the virtual stuff. It takes someone with virtue who, in an age of distraction, in an age of this sort of slavery of the mind captured by these digital constructs, it takes virtue to look at all that and say there's a better way. My friends, Van Morrison is brilliant. Whether it was his brilliance in Astro Weeks, when he ventured to the slipstream in the viaducts of our dreams, where mobile showrooms crack. Beautiful song. Madame George, Cypress Avenue, Way Up on Cypress, regardless. Moon Dance. Crazy Love. Regardless, Van Morrison is one of the greatest songwriters to ever grace this earth. And for him to be slandered as he's being slandered right now is nothing short of an absolute disgrace. And it is a testament to the strength of his arguments that not a single one of these educated intelligentsia people is willing to engage with them without attacking his character. And they cannot engage with them because the truth is resolute and the truth will decide who wins. The truth will decide who reigns the day. Van Morrison, sir, I salute you. You keep going on, man. I love your music. I love what you do. All prophets have been besmirched one time, but their example resonates and rings true throughout the ages. Keep resonating and ringing true with your words, sir, because we need it. We need you. All of us need you. Thank you for your voice. And thank all of you for watching. If you want to support me, please donate on Patreon, patreon.com/officialcwatson. But until next time, my friends, I love you. And please, 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 stay pensive. Bye-bye, guys.